Hey all, and welcome back to Fuzzy Jets of Gaming and a new video on the channel. Just going over the first T17 map I've run on the Lightning Strike Champion. In the last video, I got the claw upgraded, so I thought it made sense to then try a T17 map. I'll go through one map and I'll talk through it as we go along. Now, I have no experience of these maps or the bosses because a lot of the bosses are from mechanics that I didn't normally do. So this Citadel map, for example, has got bosses from Expedition. I fought them a few leagues ago. But at a point where my characters are really strong, so I didn't necessarily need to know mechanics. The first thing to know about T17 maps is at the base, if these were scoured, they're marginally more difficult than T16s, and the bosses don't have a lot of life. The issue is it's going to roll with lots of mods, and a lot of them brick your build, and if not, they're very difficult. You're never going to find a map where you go, oh, I can get rid of all of those downsides. Now, one thing I will say is you can make an Atlas tree to make these easier. I'm not going to go through maybe an exploit with Einar, but if you wanted to just go Nico, for example, you could get the sulfite nodes and get more damage and more life. And there's things you can do to make the maps a little bit better. I stupidly have a tree with half of the top hat, so these mods get made even harder. So if you are going to run T17s, I would recommend having an Atlas tree specifically for them. Anything that makes them more difficult is a no-no. Anything that helps you out is massive. So I think if I had Shrines and if I had Nico in this, the map would have been much, much easier. So in the end, this is the map that I settled on. So it's got monsters gain a frenzy charge on hit, have +1 frenzy. I don't get any effect of curse at all. They have 200% fizz as extra elemental. And I didn't have any extra mobs to put on here. So I had to just go with it. Now I can imagine if you get unlucky and got lots of nasty mods, these could be even harder. So I recommend keeping things like, packs of rats or meat sack around just to make the map easier. You can also get the Scarab where you've got a 50% chance to consume portals or not consume portals. So in the end, I actually just wanted to get to the boss to get the map completed so that I can unlock my 5th slot. So everything died pretty quickly. I deliberately rolled the map without tank mods. I wanted to have, I'll take more damage. I have no problem with that. This I totally forgot about. So there's these clusters of barrels that explode. I totally forgot about. I was zooming through the map. I'm just going to go back and I go a little bit slower. But it was my kind of aim that I think because I know they don't have a ton of health, these bosses, that I would rather take a few deaths and get it done quickly than maybe have 100%, 200% more monster life and take longer to kill not only the boss, but enemies as well. There's things like effects going on this map that I didn't really know what was happening. I was just going through killing stuff and hoping that I survived and just making sure I kept an eye on those stupid barrels. So the boss in this fight is a expedition boss called Utrecht, I think his name is. And I always struggled with him in Expedition, but that's mainly because when you're doing Expedition logbooks, you're really juicing that boss up. He might have 400% more damage, 300% more life. He might have penetration, loads of different stuff because you're trying to juice him up to get more currency to drop from him at the end. So you'd always put the boss at the end of your chain. There were bosses that turned up in the map. I didn't really see them. I do think this would probably be, with the right modifiers, fairly easy. I didn't really know the mechanics. I sort of learnt them as I went along. There are these weird degen pools on the ground, and I have a feeling if you stand in them, you then die if you get hit, because that's what seemed to happen. But this, for example, doesn't one-shot you. So there was plenty of time, I think, to do it. And in terms of the mechanic, when you get these sort of beams of light go across, they didn't really kill me either unless I got hit by lots of them. So it wasn't actually too bad. I do use a few portals because I was kind of all over the shop, not really knowing what I was doing. And with Lightning Strike, you really can't see anything. So there were times where I've probably stood in a really big telegraphed attack and got killed. I don't know what killed me there. So as I say, I don't know the mechanics of this fight. I just went through it with, I've got 6 portals. Now I've got my new claw. That should easily be enough DPS to basically fudge my way through the encounters. So the way the fight works, it's similar to the Expedition one, except the other 2 Expedition bosses turn up to fight you. So you'll get Medved first and then the female, I can't remember her name. And then Utrecht will keep coming back and fighting in between those. But still getting decent shock, like 36% shock. I'll probably get more if I can actually stand still to do damage. But yeah, again, as with every kind of difficult map and Uber boss, it's very, very melee unfriendly. So you do have to have decent damage or be very, very good mechanically. I'm not. I stood in all of these different pools. I have no idea what they do. But I imagine it's not a good thing. It might just be a speed debuff, to be fair, but I really don't know. And then there's times he'll go and not be targetable like there. So I don't have any regen. I had about 100 health. I needed to be able to leech and he was untargetable and I got killed. So I think now I know the mechanics a bit better, I'll be much more comfortable going into this fight. So we'll just skip a bit because I stood outside for a little while. So I went back in with a few portals left, and then I basically had to get Varana down and then the rest of Ultrex health, which is about a quarter, and then that's the map done. And so I only did it to get my extra slot and just to test out how hideous they were. Now I do think I rolled mine very easy. I probably spent like 20 chaos rolling it. The mods are not particularly difficult. There's some fizzes extra, and there's obviously no curse effect. So that, I don't know what happened. I don't know if that's because I was in those weird grabby hands, but again, something one-shot me, but there is a lot of fizzes extra with the top hat. It's probably 230%. So it could have just been a auto attack that crit and I would die to those with the health pool that I've got. But with the character I've got, he's not particularly defensive and he was tanking those lasers absolutely fine. And then that's the boss done. So if you take away this silly death I had on the exploding barrels, I would have had a couple of portals left to do that map. So I will get my character leveled up a little bit more and then we'll try the other ones. I have no idea if this is the easiest. I tried the one with the heist boss much earlier on when I was about half the DPS, and that was tough because he does lots of area of effect damage next to him, and when you're melee and you have to stand there with lightning strike, it's very difficult to see the telegraph moves, and I failed that map. So we'll give that a go again in the next couple of days. But that's it for the video. I just wanted to let people know that if they did want to try T17 maps and have got half decent damage, once you learn the mechanics, just roll the map so that it's something that your build can do. You are always going to have mods that you don't like. Just don't get ones that are going to make it, 10 times harder or totally brick your build. Just re-roll them with a Chaos Orb. That's it for the video. Thanks for watching. Take care and see you in the next one.